Hello and welcome to the Ultim8 Chat podcast. Today we're going to be discussing Holloway versus Kattar prelims. We'll start that right away. I ain't going to mess about with it. So I want to know from you. Are you there?
I'm here.
Hello. I want to know from you straight away a score for the whole event out of 10. That's a new one from us. Out of 10, what we're giving it.
That wasn't planned, so you've caught me on the hop. So I don't actually know. Give me 2 seconds though, and I'll give you an answer.
What's your feeling? I don't want fake. I want your feel for the event.
No, what I want to do is look at the actual full card and then go, oh yeah, you know what, that was brilliant. My initial impression was, it wouldn't have mattered too much if the rest of the card was turd, because the actual main event was, I thought, brilliant.
No, I'm not talking about the main event.
Yes, I know we're not, but you're saying give me a rating. Is
yes, please.
You know, it's like I told you before, sometimes if you watch a film, find most of it's pretty dull, pretty boring, what have you, but then it gives you an absolute banger of an ending. It makes the rest of the film better. And that's what I feel about. Yeah, and that's about this card. I left feeling, I left on a high.
That's what I want. I want to know what your overall feeling was. Yeah.
Yeah, if it was a good card, and then you got the main event, and the main event absolutely sucked, then you'd be like, oof, you kind of leave the card on a little bit of a downer, kind of going, was it that good or what have you? But because this left on that main event, which I thought was brilliant, I think the card was brilliant. And also, by the way, there was some other decent fights. So
you've got to try not to do that, though, right?
Okay, well,
even if it ended on a crap fight, right? It doesn't matter. You could still go, look, okay, so by the end of it, I thought, well, that was a bit crap. But it's only because of how you were left. You've got to try and encapsulate, which is why you're looking at the whole card now as a whole. So you're right to do it, really. Encapsulate the whole thing and go, regardless of what fight came where, what did I think out of 10 for the whole event? The whole event. Not the card and who was on the card, your enjoyment level.
I'm going to say for the whole event, quite high, sort of between a 7 and 8. So maybe 7.5 out of 10. The main card, I'm going to give it about an 8, and the prelims, I'm going to give about a 5 or a 4.
I was going to ask that to separate the two. So you've done it all.
Main card was really good, in my opinion, really enjoyable. I don't think there was a bad fight on it. We'll go from later. The prelims, there was one decent fight on it. The rest from the truth is I should have been being paid to watch it.
Okay. All right. Well,
what's your score out of 10?
I don't know. After it,
you haven't got me for not knowing. You knew that you were asked the question. You don't know.
Yeah, I didn't know I was going to have to answer it. I didn't think it was that good. At the end of it, I didn't go. Well, I suppose I did for the reasons you're saying, that I was left with the sweet taste of the main event in my mouth. But overall, I ain't giving it no 8s or anything. But you said about 7, didn't you? Well, you said 7.5, 8. Yeah, that's too much. That I'm going 6.5. No, I didn't think it was that good. Crap.
All right. Well, we'll go through it one by one. We'll start, and we'll see whether either of us want to amend our opinions.
Okay. This event was the first event in, I don't know how many months, ages, obviously, at least since last March, where there was fans allowed. So they did the classic football version that we were discussing before with Bunhead. It was 2,000 fans. I'm not saying there was 2,000 fans in there. I'm saying that's how many were allowed. First question, do we know what this 2,000 number is? It seems regardless of the size of the stadium, 2,000 is the number. It seems that way. There's no way that this stadium is the same size as all the football ones. And correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't follow football. Am I right in saying that football has been allowing 2,000 fans in to games?
Yeah, I don't know about lately though, because we've got all these new restrictions again. But they did allow fans for a little while. But
when it was 2,000, right?
We had 2,000. Even if you were, say, at Old Trafford, which, say, holds 70,000, but you'd also have 2,000 even if, say, a park, which holds 40,000. So you'd think on a scale-wise, you'd go, well, Old Trafford's got 70,000 seats. Let's just say it's got double the seats Villa Park has. Why can't they have 4,000 and Villa Park has 2,000? Now, I'm assuming that's because restrictions on numbers, that people can't gather in groups larger than X amount. So I'm going to say that that's 2,000. So I'm going to say that's the same here. The reason it was 2,000 isn't related to the stadium size, or that's how many they could fit in with, the required social distancing. I'm going to say that it's kind of a generic number that people have got together and said, hey, if you've got 2,000 people in a room together, you're all good. If you have 2,001, chaos will ensue. So what I believe it is. The couple of the fighters mentioned it, didn't they? That it was good to have some fans in there. I think it's good to have some semblance of normality again. So I care in that way, but I'm saying from my viewing pleasure and all that, I can give a monkeys.
We don't want to comment on it too much, do we? Because the truth is, neither has done any research. We don't really know the reasons, but it seems that 2,000, even across the pond, as they say, is the number. That's my next question. What did you think about having some fans? I mean, you kind of answered me already, but you didn't really care. No, didn't make it better or worse. You didn't notice. You weren't fussed. What are we saying?
I do think it's a shame that some of these guys, for example, let's take Buckley, who was on this card. I'm not going to talk about his fight yet, but he's KO of Kasangane, and you've had sort of these great fights, and they've been taking place in essentially like empty halls. They're almost like gym battles, so to speak. I think that's a shame that takes away from the experience for the fighters who I think are happy to have these fights because they want to have an income, they want to have a job. But let's be honest, it'd be great if you had, you got that KO kick in front of 20,000 fans and everyone went bananas and this and that. You can't tell me that wouldn't have a far more rewarding and for, say, someone like Buckley and what he had, which is still a memorable experience because everybody chatted about it. It went viral, all that crap. But it's not the same, is it? Let's be honest. It's not the same as if done it in front of 20,000 fans, jumped on top of the cage, done the usual thing, pointed at the camera, said, I'm the man, Dana 50 Gs. It's not the same doing it in an empty hall, where your voice echoes and everything. It's just not the same. So I feel sorry for them that they're having kind of like, if you like, their athletic exploits not lived out to the full. But like I say, for me and my viewing pleasure, it does make things better if there's an atmosphere. So as another example, sorry, I know I'm nattering, but as another example,
that's right.
In the football, at the moment you can have it with fake sound on, so fake crowd noise on, or fake crowd noise.
What is there someone? Okay, sorry, I need to ask because I don't watch football.
Yeah,
there's someone in a booth pressing the button or something at certain point. Okay. Right.
Yeah, so what they'll do, so let's just say I'm watching Aston Villa play. What they do is, and they've got quite good at it. So the first few times they put simulated crowd noise on, it was rubbish. It was basically like it was white noise in the background.
Ambience,
it didn't fit with what that was happening in the game. And because they've got better with it, what they've done is, say for example, if you have a shot that goes close, they change the noise to a whoa, it's like the crowd, as if the crowd were there and were like, oh, we almost scored.
Yeah.
So they've done that. So I'm telling you, for me personally, I know lots of people go, no, it's rubbish. For me personally, I watch it, and a lot of the time, the only reason I know that there's crowd not there, because I don't really focus on football that intently, is because you can see that there's no crowd there. When they're kicking the ball around, you can see it in the stadium. But the noise-wise, down quite good now, where it does replicate a real, nowhere near to the same, but it replicates it well enough that it feels like a football match. And I personally watch it with the crowd noise on. I never watch it with the crowd noise off. So that would suggest to me that I do prefer watching events with a live audience, with interaction, with an atmosphere. What I'm saying is, at the end of the day, I'm watching fights and I'm happy doing that.
How do you turn it off? Say it's on, what's the Grealish games on, ITV and BBC and that?
Yeah, there are other players other than Grealish, believe it or not.
But how do you turn it off?
So say for example on Sky Sports main event, it will have it with the crowd on, and they'll say if you want to watch this with crowd noise off, Sky Sports 1. So they'll have one channel reserved for,
all right,
and then they'll show the same thing with noise on a different channel.
Okay, for the football, I mean, first off, I don't really like it at all because to me it's fake. But I know what the point you're making is. It means that you prefer it with a crowd because you prefer watching, say, that football with some noise rather than silence. But fighting's different, right? It's one-on-one. And the football, if you have no noise and you've just got the commentators, there's nothing. But we've had extra things out of having no crowd with MMA events, haven't we? As in, you can hear them chatting themselves. You can hear the slaps and cracks of the punches and kicks a bit better. You can hear the commentators. They react to the commentators. You can hear the corner chats a lot better. You can hear the corner throughout the fight. So you've said just in general, it's making you think, look, I think I prefer it with crowds, right? Because I had a choice with football. But let's go with UFC events then, as an example. Have you preferred it with or without? Now, you got to hang on though, because the without, it's not the same as, or the with that we've got isn't the same as the with we've had in the past. So it's kind of like an in-between version. So for me, I'd say that I preferred this because I still got all the other things, because the crowd weren't massive and it wasn't totally loud and deafening. I got a little bit of extra ambience and excitement at certain points, but I could still hear the slaps and cracks. I could still hear the corner blokes chatting. I kind of got, to me, this was good. I got a bit of everything. So I liked this. I thought this was good. But it's not the same. If you could have switched this 2000 off, would you have had it off? Because 3 weeks ago, you had none.
I don't think so. Like I said, it had for MMA anyway. It hasn't affected my enjoyment. When I mentioned about the crowd thing, I said it's just nice for the athletes, isn't it, to have that? Yeah, but for me personally, I'm not. So when I watch football with no atmosphere, to me it's terrible. It sounds like a game. It just doesn't sound very good. Like you say, you still hear some stuff. You might hear the players, I don't know, effing and jeffing at the referee a bit, stuff like that. But you don't. It's not same, hearing somebody's foot hitting a football just ain't the same as seeing somebody's foot hit somebody's cranium. There's definitely a difference, and I'm more okay with watching martial arts with no background noise. I wouldn't want simulated crowd noise.
Exactly.
And like you say, this
they
event
could have done that.
Kind of had got the best of both worlds to a degree. I'll tell you one good benefit from it's good not hearing Ric Flair woos every 2.
No, that's a real bad thing they started doing. The crowds at UFC.
Yeah, I don't miss that at all.
It was crap that. Yeah, I don't miss that either.
Yeah, I believe in freedom of speech, but I draw the line with Rick woos. I'll chuck people out of the stadium for that.
I don't blame you. I honestly hated it as well, and I don't think anyone would have liked it apart from the crowd having a laugh between themselves at the time. I think this was a good in between. I don't think I will prefer having the full crowd back. I don't mind either way. Have the crowd back if you want. I think it's good for business, good for the economy, good for UFC, good for the fighters. It's always good to have that extra income there. So I would never say, I don't want crowds back, because I think it's the right thing to have them. But this I liked because it wasn't overbearing. So it was quite good. So that's for the fans. Now we can go straight to the fights. The first fight, I'm guessing you never watched it. Jacob Kilburn versus Austin.
Yeah, I didn't see that because it cut into it at the end of the broadcast. There's not even any point in watching it on UFC Fight Pass because I know the result.
I felt the same.
If what they showed me was the best clips of the fight, it's not really a fight that I'm going to be.
Well, it's out of order because we had the option to watch it and we didn't. I know why you didn't watch it. I had the same feeling. If there was, say, another fight before that, I would have put it on and probably watched that fight as well. But because it was literally the first fight on the card and they showed me the result, I thought, all right, I won't bother watching this, which is a shame because we never got to, because it was a decision fight and we never got to see the performance of either fighters. Which means we don't know if either of them are good. Just because one of them won, it don't mean nothing, does it? So I can't. It's a shame because we should have really watched it.
They could both be naff.
Exactly right. Or they could both be brilliant, right?
Yeah.
Bad qual of us that, not watching it, but neither of us did. So.
Yeah, but I did say that Lingo I thought would win because
you did
for no reason other than he just looked like a bit more of a.
You say he was more solid or something like that.
Yeah, just a bit more solid than the other. But yeah, was all right.
You were right. That's all you needed. All you needed was the pictures of the two blokes and go, listen, this bloke's doing him because he's more solid. So yeah, you were right. Just for the sake of knowing the result, Austin Lingo won that by a decision, and we don't have a clue if either of them are good or not. That's probably a bad thing.
Don't forget to hit that subscribe button for
if you want to know what all the fighters are like and our opinion on all the fighters. Anik, in the post-fight interview, did an Anik. He said, as you spin this forward, I know you'd like to keep a more active schedule.
He always does that, spin this forward.
It's rubbish.
Yeah, I'll tell you another one he does. This is it. We need to start building up the portfolio of Anik's. You've bounced him from the ranks of the unbeaten.
Yeah.
That's another one. You know, when somebody's has got to go, he always says, now that, you know, he's been bounced of the unbeaten. He says it, you know, before the fight. Say, for example, if somebody lost their last fight and, you know, it's the first fight they've lost, he goes, since his last fight where he's bounced from the ranks of the unbeaten, it's like, oh, man, can't you just say somebody's lost the fight? Does everything have to be, you know, like a tongue twister or a limerick or something?
I hate it, but we might end up liking it.
Well, look, I think it gives him something, right? It's something about him. It's just like when he used to wear those rubbish jeans on that show to sit cross-legged on the armchair?
Oh, the jeans and the shoes used to, and the trainers used to wear with it. Yeah, terrible.
Yeah. Why is there something there's in the MMA world where if you're an MMA journalist, you have to have crap tasting trainers? Because Helwani has got terrible trainers. So has Anik. And then I saw, what's his name? Okamoto. Wearing space boots. Yeah, and he was wearing space boots.
Maybe, and they hang around with each other and all that. So maybe it's something like that. I don't know. But it ain't the only Anik. There was another one. He kept saying stuff like otherworldly, outerworldly, otherworldly, I don't know, cardio and stuff like that was he new. And he said it twice in it. And he also said, has she done enough to get the win? The answer, around the bend, instead of saying after the break or whatever. Yeah, the answer, around the bend. He don't, like I said, he don't talk like that. It's the same as all of them, like Jimmy Smith. I told you, there's no way he goes home and has a chat to his kids like that. He don't do it. It's not real. And that's true. I checked it out, the Jimmy Smith, right? Because he was really doing my nutting. He's on some ESPN fight camp thing on telly. And he does me nutting with the fake chats. That there was a program he used to be in called Fight Quest. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's good. Going around the world doing different martial arts, having smashes. He talks totally normal. So I know he talks normal, but as soon as you put a mic in his face and you put him on telly, it just becomes, broadcast voice, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not natural, isn't it? It's almost like they're how they would speak in an interview or something like that.
It's weird.
It's not how they speak to their mates, not how they speak to their kids. And I get it. You know, you don't want necessarily. I don't want Anik coming on the broadcast and talk to me like I'm one of his kids, but I also don't need. If you're telling me that there's a decision after the break, just tell me there's a decision after the break. You don't need to tie it up in some sort of, some sort of Matt Riddle. So it might be rubbish, but like you say, it might end up being brilliant. He always calls Dana White boss as well. When he does a chat, I mean, Dana White had done that reveal on his meeting with Habib, which is the biggest anti-climax ever, because it was just basically. I mean, who does who Habib thinks he is, right? He's the best in the world, and he's the champ, right? Fair enough. But what a crap answer of I'll wait and see if any of them impress me and excite me enough to come out.
Terrible, yeah.
Half. Who the hell do you think you are? Like you know what I mean?
It was kind of like a big setup. So then, for those four fighters, they're listening to it, going, "Ooh, we better do something good to impress Khabib because then we'll get him out fighting again." They ain't going to want him to fight anyway. If I was them, I'd do sluggish because I don't want him laying on me in the next fight.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't want him laying on me, punching my face in, and then arm-barring me for 4 rounds.
Yeah, forget it.
If anything, I'd be going for a real drab 5-round.
Take me for the breaks. Yeah. Forget it. Then I don't want him back because I can't do him. So,
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So stupid, really. But we'll stick to the. I'll get it out of the way because I've got something else to say. Later on, after the Condit fight, it had a clip of Stephen A's World, and it had Dana White on it, and it was the same thing. Stephen A doing absolutely fake chats. I can't believe that he goes home and speaks to his family like that. It was.
I can't believe he's a television personality. And obviously, he's not over here in England.
No.
what is it Americans see in him or ever saw in him? The guy's a mug.
The punches.
Yeah, well, this is it. I mean, maybe he punched his way to the top. But the thing is, he knows nothing. And I'm okay with people knowing nothing, right, and chatting about it. That's fine. But
We do it.
He chats about it. No, we know what we're chatting about.
Yeah,
But
true.
he chats about it with arrogance, and he chats about it like he is a know-it-all about the sport. You know, like the way he spoke about Cerrone after Cerrone got his face smashed in by McGregor.
Yeah, I
I
remember.
find it's, man, you're a mug. You've never done anything. You know absolutely nothing. You don't even know how to pronounce people's names. That don't count because you call Kattar.
Maybe I'm doing them right. I know we've got to have Anik is the benchmark for it, isn't he? That's what people say.
Yeah.
But I'm going with what I see.
Yeah,
I'm reading them out.
So how would you pronounce the country Kattar? If Kattar is spelled Kattar to you, what about Qatar the country?
How's it spelled? It's spelled with a Q in it.
Yeah, Qatar.
Well, first off, it doesn't exist as a word because it's supposed to be a U after a Q. There's no such word. So, I mean, it doesn't exist as a word. Are you sure you spelled it right? Every Q word has to have a U after it. So that's wrong.
No, it's an A. It's Qatar.
Okay. Qatar. Or Qatar.
That would definitely
be. Well, sorry. That's what I'm doing. If I'm reading it out, I wouldn't know. So I would have got it wrong. So Stephen A.
Stephen A. Smith, he's a mug.
That little clip they showed, if they think I'm going to watch that show, they're wrong because it made it look crap. Also, before the next fight...
I have no ideas why he's popular in America. Why is he popular in America?
Well, we don't know. We wouldn't know because we've not seen him. We've seen what we've seen.
I saw nothing when he was talking about Cerrone. And look, that ain't because I'm some sort of Cerrone fanboy and I was all angry at what he said. I have his opinion. I don't even have a problem with his opinion. It's just the way the guy's just crap. He don't know what he's talking about. It's just that show. What was it? Skip. Is that Skip Bayless and all that? I've seen them all talking on that show. None of them know what they're talking about. They're a bunch of idiots, and those guys get paid thousands of dollars to sit on the telly chatting crap. They're all rubbish.
Well, whenever we can't do this because we don't know him, but whenever Americans say something about Stephen A. that's not that favourable, like, yeah, we don't really agree what he said about Cerrone, the next thing they say in the same breath is, listen, Stephen A.'s the best there is. He's this, he's that, he's the greatest. But we can't do that because we don't know. So I don't know. Maybe he's the greatest.
I don't even know who he is.
Well, the only reason we do is the crap stuff we've seen.
Huh?
The only reason we've got the opinion we've got is because the only bits we've seen have been crap.
I did watch a fair few clips of that show, of, like I say, Skip Bayless or something, and that used to appear on my timeline on YouTube. So I used to watch a few of them.
Why?
I just used to be like, it just used to come up, like.
Why did you watch them?
Just because they're talking about boxing and stuff. So it might have been
boxing. Okay.
Maybe around the McGregor Mayweather fight. I think it came up a few times. So I thought, let's just, it all looks professional, right? It's ESPN or whatever, and it's on a expensive looking desk, or Fox Sports or whatever. Anyway, it's on an expensive looking desk. So I thought these guys must, be professional, know what they're talking about. I clicked on it. It was like listening to, a couple of, I don't know, like, those kinds of people who don't watch fighting, they don't watch boxing, they've never done it or what have you, but they watch the odd Anthony Joshua fight or the big pay-per-views. It's basically like those blokes chatting about a fight, which I have no problem with, but they're chatting about it like they had an authority on it, like they understood the sport, that they know what they're talking about, like they were right, like they've got the inside scoop. So you guys are less knowledgeable than the bloke sitting at the end of the bar in the pub. You don't know nothing. Why are you on national TV chatting about this? There is literally millions of people in a better position to talk about it than you.
They've got broadcast voice.
Yeah, it's true.
They've got the non-real broadcast voice, and they've got the annex. They've got stuff that they can draw on.
Maybe, yeah.
The TV personalities. I don't know. I don't know. But then I prefer real stuff. What's that bloke's name? The big white bloke that boxing Bunce, is it?
The Bunce, yeah.
See, now blokes like that, to me, he's talking like he talks at home.
Mm.
He's just chatting, and I like it.
I don't know about that.
What, is he crap, is he?
Yeah, he gets on my nerves and all, yeah. Sometimes, I do like him a lot of the time, but then there's sometimes I'm like, No, you know what? He's all right. He's just a bit overexcitable now, which I guess
That's
is a
all
good
right,
thing.
though, isn't it? You've got to have a
That's
bit of
what
that
comes back
sometimes. He's
for
on
me.
telly, yeah. I think he's all right. I don't think he's doing fake. Or maybe he is. Maybe I don't know. I've barely watched any bunts. I just went for a big white Ingers who I thought spoke like he speaks. That's all. Not talking about what he knows or his knowledge. I'm just simply talking about his voice. You know, to me, he's just chatting how he would chat to his mate. I could be wrong though.
Well, one thing you could say is he's definitely a boxing historian. He knows his stuff, and he talks as if he is what he is. He knows all that stuff, and he's comfortable talking about it. All these other blokes, Stephen A's, like we're talking about, they're talking about mispronouncing people's names or not understanding the history of people's careers. So at least Bunce, look, this guy really does know his stuff.
Yeah,
You
he's
know,
real at boxing first. Yeah.
and yeah, so you can really take what he says. You might not agree with it, but it does carry some weight. Stephen A, his words carry about as much weight as, I don't know. I should have thought of something a little bit more humorous before going down that path, but they hold no weight. Let's put it.
Yeah. Well, it's natural. Sorry, you can't always. You're very
Yeah,
quick with your die, but
I'm not Anik. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. You're not fake. Exactly right. You didn't have it written down. So before the next fight, there was a clip of the Dominic Cruz Unlocking Victory program, which right. I know you said you quite like the look of, and of course, in principle, I quite like the look of. But I did watch that little clip, and this is a clip to advertise it to me. So it's supposed to make me, like the Stephen A's world, it's supposed to make me go, I'll tune into that, or I'll look at that, and it didn't. The reason it didn't is because they were breaking down the first McGregor-Poirier fight, and he said, McGregor starts with a hook kick, which gets Poirier moving in the exact direction he wants. Well, it was a right hook kick. That's what it was that McGregor threw, which means he would want the hook kick comes across from the right. So it would push, if he wants him to move in the exact direction, that kick, the momentum of that kick, pushes Poirier to his left and to McGregor's right. That's the exact direction he would want him to move, but he didn't. After getting kicked with that hook kick, he went the opposite way, and he went to McGregor's left.
So hang on, wait. Say that again. So McGregor throws
right hook kick with his right leg.
Right hook kick, and that should make Poirier move to Poirier's left.
Yeah, and McGregor's right, because a hook kick goes like this, across. It doesn't go straight, it goes across. It pushes. So if he's saying that got him to move the exact direction he wanted, he wouldn't have thrown that kick, because the direction that Poirier moved was the opposite direction. He took the kick on.
He does initially move to that side a little bit, doesn't he? But he resets
because he blocks it. But then just immediately after, he moves the opposite direction.
Yeah, he moves back to his right afterwards, doesn't he?
That's right, straight after, right? So he doesn't go the direction he wants. And then he said same about a spinning back kick. Again, he gets him to do this, and it gets him to move the direction he wants. A spinning back kick, the direction you want the person to move from a spinning back kick is backwards. That's the energy and power of a spinning back kick, right? You push him back. But he didn't. Poirier went back a little bit and then moved to one side. I think what Cruz was doing was what he does on the broadcast, overanalyzing. I know that's what his job is on this show that he was doing, this Unlocking Victory, but he was overanalyzing stuff and making stuff up. We've said this before, haven't we? That maybe McGregor isn't necessarily throwing a right hook kick because he wants Poirier to move the direction that he wants him to go in, so that he can eventually use his left hand, which is what Cruz was trying to say. I don't know how much of that is real. First off,
he could have just thrown it because he saw an opportunity, or he was in the right position to throw it. It's simple as that.
Yeah. Now,
sometimes it is as simple as that.
No, but if it's right and it did get him to move the direction he wanted, then that's what Cruz got wrong straight away, because he went the other way. That was just something I picked out, and it made me go, rubbish.
It was a mistake. Poirier shouldn't have been, if you like, moving to his right. Again, I don't buy into that as well. You can't just become one-dimensional and move the same way for a whole fight, away from the power hand.
Yeah.
There's, obviously it's important to be aware of it, but you can't just constantly move in the same direction a whole fight. So, but he does actually, after, like, say, that initial hook kick, he moves back to Poirier's right, so McGregor's left. So he is moving into his power hand.
Yeah, and that's fine. If McGregor wanted him to move to McGregor's left, if he wanted him to move left, that's fine. But then he wouldn't have thrown a right hook kick, because that shoves the opponent to the right. So
that's right,
all I'm saying is,
it'd throw maybe a right high kick, and that would have pushed him. Correa's right.
Right, exactly. So, in my opinion, crap. Cruz, breakdown, crap. Yeah, next fight then. I said a next fight. We've only covered one, and we didn't even cover that. A next fight. We didn't even do that. The next fight is is the greatest. Sarah Moraes. Not Moraes. She ain't Brazilian. It's Sarah Moraes versus Vanessa Milo. We had an agreement that we were going to watch this fight. No fast forwards. It was like a mental battle challenge for us. Did you break or did you do it with no fast forwards?
I watched it with no fast forwards. I can, if you want to ask me anything about the fight to test me, by all means do. From right at the very start, Keith Peterson with the gravel voice. Sounds like he needs to, have a lozenge or a whole soothers or two, because that voice is very gravelly.
Maybe it's his thing.
It might be, yeah. Too many beers. Ask Cruz.
Was that the bloke, was it?
Yeah, it was him, yeah. Cruz had the ump with him, and he said he smelt of beer and fags. So I did watch it all the way through, everything. Did you?
I did. I watched the whole thing, no fast forwards. But what you said towards the beginning...
Leave a like if you also managed to get through this fight without fast forwarding.
Yeah. What you said at the beginning was, you can ask me anything about the fight, and I know it, right? Because I'm trying to prove that I did watch it all the way through with no breaks. But it wouldn't have mattered if you watched the whole thing, or if you fast forwarded it, or if you didn't watch the fight at all. Because you would have guessed this fight is going to be crap. And we both watched it all the way through. And my opinion is it was absolutely awful, as expected. Crap. But I did enjoy watching it all the way through without fast forwarding. But the facts are the facts. No surprise. Awful fight. I'd say that neither of them won that fight. It's weird, right? Because someone got the win. Someone got their hand raised. No one won that fight. That's how crap it was. To me, there was no winner. It was garbage.
Well, I think the viewers won. That was a great fight. A real strategic battle played out on the feet. The truth is, I went through a whole range of emotions watching that. So when it first started, I had my finger hovering over the fast forward button, but not because I was gonna be crap, but because I just forgot. And then it started, and I went, "Oh no, this is the fight I've got to watch all the way through." I've made an agreement.
The same for me. Yeah. I was ready with a fast forward and went, "Oh, I can't, otherwise I'll break the agreement."
Yes, that was the same. So I put the controller down, and I think by about the third minute in, I was like, "This is nonsense. I ain't wasting my life on this garbage, right?" And I was laughing. Well, after about 3 minutes, I started laughing about it and going, "Oh, this is so silly. Is this fight ever going to change?" Or that stupid bleeding nose from Moraes. Yeah, and
like the shouts though.
Hup, hup, and she was doing hup without even throwing a pun. Hup feints and stuff like that, fainting with your voice.
Yeah.
All that sort of stuff. And then by the novelty of that wore off about midway through round 2, and I was like, I'm really struggling here. But by the time I got a minute or so into round 3, I was like, I'm on the home straight here. I'll do an Anik on it. I was round the final bend.
Yeah, the end of the fight was only round the bend. Yeah.
Yeah, so I thought I can handle this now. So I got through it. And the best thing about it was Moraes' face when the decision got read out.
Oh yeah, she was crying about it. As if saying, "What? You're joking me?"
Like robbery of the century. It's like, I mean, I mean, I just don't understand how. Look, here's the facts, right? You'll get somebody who, let's be honest, is a bit of a do-gooder. Will sit there, will try and review this fight, or let's be honest, they'll go, a great performance, or they'll say, some really good, punches landed. Let's be honest, there was no good strikes landed, not by Moraes. I think Melo landed a couple. Moraes landed 0 decent strikes. I've said it a few times before, if this was a sparring match in my local amateur boxing gym, well, that's where it belonged, basically. It was a sparring match that belonged in my local boxing gym.
That good?
As you know, I've seen much better sparring / boxing matches at my local boxing gym. Every time we have
That's no
sparring.
surprise to me. I mean,
Yeah,
the only reason
I'm not. Yeah, that's not me bragging that I've got a wicked boxing gym. That's
no,
me just this was no good. Now Mello, was way better, and I'm so glad she got the decision. If Morass got that decision, I'd have just been like, oh. But her face was, yeah, it was a real picture. And she done the shock as if like, oh my god, how did I not win that? It's like you didn't win that because
you didn't.
you
No one
landed.
won it. Didn't do out.
Well, didn't they come up with her stats in the fight? Like she landed some like 26 out of 162 punches.
Out of 1,000 shouts.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, her shouts done more damage than her fists. 26 out of 162. It's like she had like a 16% hit ratio, and that's not because Mello's got outstanding head movement and defense. It's because she was throwing punches out of range. She was dropping her punches short. She was, that they even said on the broadcast, not all those jabs are intended to land. Not always you throw jabs intending to land. A lot of the time it's a distraction. It's like, listen, right, I know what you're trying to say, but that is not what Morass was doing. That was a terrible performance.
Yeah, it was.
And it was, as far as I'm concerned, it was, for me, a cuttable performance. I don't like saying that, but it was. If I'd just signed Morass, I'm not going to blame Mello too much. I think she tried to have a fight. But if I signed Morass and that was her debut, I'd be like, how many fights did we sign this girl to? Because I might just want to pay him up and get rid.
Yeah. Get rid while,
it's really horrible to say, but that's just how I feel. It's just not UFC level, UFC caliber.
Okay, not UFC level women's fighting. Is that what you're saying, is it? You actually think there's a lot better out there?
I don't think there's a lot better out there. We spoke that there is it's not a talent pool out there. There's a talent puddle. That's the problem. And that might take years to remedy. But what is she? I think that's the record for her. 6 wins, 7 losses. Everyone takes the piss out of Lobov. But I mean, he's sort of like 22-16 or something, something like that.
And his fights were interesting, exciting. There was stuff going on in them. They were good.
Oh yeah,
and he
and all that. He goes in there to kill or be killed, right? We like Lobo. I like him.
Brilliant, one of the best.
Of course, not a skilled fighter out there, but not everybody can be, and that's okay. With let's be honest, right? With this Morass, I'm okay with her not being the most skilled fighter. But what I'm okay with is somebody basically trying to run away.
Unprofessional, that.
It is, yeah. Sorry. My phone's going mental. That's Sarah Morass hitting me up.
Yeah, saying, "How dare you?"
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm going to come down your local boxing gym and give you what for. Yeah. Listen, if she did, I mean, yeah, no problem. No problem. But
you should have picked that phone call up and had a chat with whoever it was and said, "Look, I can't at the moment. I'm in the middle of my podcast."
Yeah, I'm chatting about Sarah Morass.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, just everything. Her footwork was unnatural, crossing over her feet. Just, it was one of those ones where they've obviously told her, look, stay away from her power hand, the right hand. So that just meant she was moving to her right the whole time. So honestly, I was getting dizzy watching her. I don't know how she didn't end up just collapsing on the floor. When you spin, that game you used to play as kids where you spin your mate round and then they have to walk over to the chair or something.
That's right. I don't know. Yeah. I don't think that's got a name. They do it when you hit the pinata as well, don't they? You spin them and go to it and you miss it.
Yeah.
Because you're all dizzy, yeah.
But you see, that's quite amusing and quite entertaining. This fight wasn't. This was just... it was... look,
bad.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to start giving fight scores out of 10. This fight was a 1. It was a 1 out of 10.
Well, can you give zeros, or is that not? You can't do that.
You can give whatever you want.
But is there such a score as a 0? I'm asking, is that our rules?
Yeah, there is.
Okay.
But I would always, I still respect the effort, the courage to get in there, the fact that they've sacrificed, a lot training wise, hit weight, done all these things, fighting during a pandemic, whatever it is. I respect all that, so I'm never going to give someone a 0. I don't think, unless they've been an absolute scumbag. And I don't think there was anything like that in this. This was just someone not that good at fighting. So
Difficult
1 out of 10
on score. I like the score in each fight rule. We'll make that up from now. The reason it's a difficult one is because, you know, based on what? Your overall enjoyment, because I ended up enjoying that fight, but I couldn't give it a good score because someone would go, "He liked that fight." So no, I didn't. It was so crap. It gets a good score for crapness. So I ended up enjoying it. I liked the shouts, even though they were terrible. You know, it started. I needed something to keep me going, watching all of it. But if you're just talking about was it a good fight, and I think we should stick to that kind of rule. You know, was this a good fight? Then I have to agree. You know, it's a 1. Can't even give it a 2. I can't even give it a 2. Can't do it.
No, me neither. I mean, I think, like, with regards to that scoring system, if it was a real scrappy, or, you know, like, let's say Leonard Garcia, Chan Sung Young, right?
No. Pick a woman's fight that's a real scrapper.
No. Well, I could pick Zhang versus Jacek, right?
Oh, God.
But anyway, let's just forget that, right? Let's just go for that. Leonard Garcia, Chan Sung Young. It's
Just
not
pick
my
any
style.
Meatball McCann fight. Easy.
Okay, but I'm going with that one. See, most people would give that a 10, but I looked at some of that and went, oh, it's too scrappy, too messy.
Yeah,
so I try and balance the two things out, and I would probably come out giving that fight, I don't know, 7.5 or an 8 or something. It was still
quite high.
Yeah, but it was still entertaining and good, right? But yeah, this is a 1. This is a 1, and it should be thankful that it even got that.
Agreed. I agree. Just one more thing on this fight. A couple of things to note. Both of them had massive legs for different reasons.
Oh, yeah, Mello, yeah.
Yeah, her legs were really big, weren't they?
Yeah, big thighs, yeah.
Yeah, massive. The other one had big legs and all. They just moved a lot more than Mello's legs. So, and also, I think if Mello watches it back, because I don't know if you watched everything, including the walkouts. I think if she watched it back, she's going to be pretty embarrassed at her walkout. She was singing along to her song. It was way too much, very embarrassing. And I think if she watches it back, she'll be, I ain't doing that again. I'm not singing along to my song again. Not doing it. And we'll see, because I am going to watch her next fight, because she ain't going to get cut, because she won by decision. And we'll see. If she ain't, then she hasn't watched it back. But if she watches that back, she ain't singing again. I'm telling you, crap.
Look, I don't think she was that bad. I don't think she was very good either, but I don't think she was that bad. You know, Moraes was far worse, but that fight was a lot closer than it needed to be, I think, for Mello. And if she learned how to cut off the cage and throw punches in bunches a bit more and stuff like that, she could have walked that fight much closer than it, you know, much easier than it actually ended up being. I mean, I still scored it for her, I think 30-27. I think I gave her everything, but you know, you could easily have made a 29-28 claim. But as for doing a Moraes shock face, I don't know what.
I love it.
I imagine her corner were thinking that she could win the fight by, you know,
shouts,
hoping she landed some of those jabs.
Keeping her off her and all that. But we'll go back to the fight with Clay Guida and the Dice bloke, Maynard. Yeah. You know, that was another one where one bloke was walking forward and they gave it to the walk forward, and she was doing walk forwards with massive thighs and got the win, because there was a bit where she took her down, right? Was laying on her for a bit.
Yeah, I can't remember. I did watch it all.
There was, yeah. And I believe you.
Yeah. I think Dan Hardy said at one point, didn't he? I think he said, you know, how many jabs, for example, kind of relate to, say, a overhand right or a bit more of a damaging punch.
That's right.
Was like, is it 6? Is it 7? Is it 8? Or whatever you.
Yeah. Need something. At some point, you need something behind the jabs and feints. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, even though Mello didn't land, you know, the only sort of significant punches were, I think there might have been one decent punch that Moraes landed in the whole fight, and I think maybe there was about 5 that Mello landed. So that's the end of it.
Okay, well, just stop. Too much airtime on a 1 out of 10. Stop. No more, right? We did it on the preview show when I'm not giving any airtime to this fight, and 15 minutes later we're still talking about it, right? So
about Moraes, and
yeah.
Helwani don't talk about it. Helwani won't talk about it. Luke Thomas won't talk about it because
No,
they're
they won't.
focusing on the other people. But to be fair, if they did focus on it, I don't think they'd be talking about Melo's thighs and Moras's shock face at the result.
I doubt they will now because they're just not as good. Next fight, David. Oh, he's got a good. What's his name? Nickname? David Sagat Zawada.
Yep,
You think that's on the Street Fighter character?
probably. Yeah, but
I don't know what
that
Sagat
character,
means apart from that.
well, didn't Hardy said it was that character was based on a real fighter or something? I think. I don't know if
Did
that's
he?
true or not. Yeah, that's what he said in the commentary. Yeah.
What in this
But, but,
commentary?
but that Zavada, he came into the fight looking like he'd already been 3 rounds out the back with someone else. Came in looking
Yeah.
all smashed up. Came in looking like ragged and smashed up. Like he'd already had a fight.
Well, maybe he has a Powers warm-up session at the back.
Well, maybe, yeah.
So it's David Zawada versus Ramazan Imiv.
Hmm.
Ramazan Imiv. I was thinking of Anik then, thinking of my mate Anik. Quite a good gritty fight. This wasn't terrible. Split decision went to Imiv. I ain't got much to say about it. I just thought it was actually a fairly entertaining fight. I thought it was all right.
I agree entirely. I think it was. I liked Zawada. I actually think I liked Zawada more than Amiv, as in Zawada showed me a bit more in that fight. Even though he lost, he showed there was a couple of times where he got rocked and he's decided to stand there swinging. So he showed some real sort of grit.
Yeah, fight back, and he would. Yeah, so
yeah, and he got taken down a couple of times. He didn't settle for it. He got back to his feet. I think he showed quite a lot. I quite liked Zawada. Amiv was all right, but he looked too wild and reckless on the feet, and he looked a little bit gassed out by the end, or a little bit overly fatigued. I liked Zawada in this fight. I'm not saying I think he's amazing, but I did like him. He just showed me a bit more about. I'm not saying he's a better fighter than Amiv. He lost, right? Amiv won that fight, and he deserved to win that fight. But I don't know.
If he hadn't done so much out the back before he came out, he might have won. Zawada.
Exactly, yeah, if he hadn't had a couple of smash ups already, what would you give it out of 10? That fight? I thought it was good. I said
I liked it. I'd give it about a sort of 5.5, 6. I liked it.
Yeah, I mean, you remember I said the prelims were not very good, but there was one decent fight.
Oh, that was the one, was it?
Fight. Yeah, I'd give that.
That's weird because the next fight was mint.
Well, we'll get to that, but I would give it about a 6 out of 10. I'd say that fight it was a good fight. Good fight, good matchmaking. Both similar skill levels, similar sort of experience, and it made for a good gritty level sort of fight. It was good. That's all I've got to say on it.
That's all I've got to say. And if that's all we've got to say,
one more thing to say.
Oh, okay. Enjoy it.
Much bigger than welterweight. I thought they looked like heavyweights or something. When I saw welterweight, I was like, "What? That Zawada looks massive."
Well, by the time they get in there, they are, aren't they? I suppose.
Yeah, I suppose they are. But I mean, they both just looked like rude blokes. But they're only welterweights, 170. So there you go.
Both good. We're not cutting either of those.
Nope.
We're keeping both. So we're moving on to the next fight. This is a heavyweight matchup. The big boys. Carlos Boy Felipe versus Justin Badman Taffer. The win went to Felipe. Split decision. Could have gone either way. I liked this fight. No joke. Real, right? I quite enjoyed it. The first round was a bit crappy, but so what? Yeah, feeling out process. No issue with this fight, apart from the commentary team.
Go on.
The commentary team they were just getting way too excited. They actually ruined it for me because I thought this fight ain't too bad for two heavyweight blokes. Taffer got done a number of times, punched in his eyes and stuff, and looked like he was going to go down. He didn't. He swung back and stayed in the fight, made it entertaining for heavyweight blokes. They fought all the way to the end, even though they only did 2 rounds, really, because the first round was nothing. They fought all the way to the end. Both stayed in the fight. but it was the commentary team ruined it for me because they were going nuts. I don't know if you remember. They were going crazy, DC and Hardy. Oh my God, these guys. And crazy. They were going crazy for it.
One of them at one point say like heavyweight fight of the year kind of
They were
contender or
going
something.
mad for this fight. Mad.
I mean, there was that 10-second bit where they both, towards the end of the fight, where they both stood and just swung like madmen for about 10 seconds. That was moderately exciting. But the rest of it was, I was just like, it's okay for a heavyweight fight, as in neither of them are just laying on each other, you know, and hyperventilating on the floor, you know, which happens regularly in heavyweight fights. There was none of that. But honestly, for 2.5 rounds, it was very, to me, just, you know, very meh. I was like, yeah, all right, it's just a fight. I wasn't bothered by it.
They weren't they were going mad.
Yeah, well,
Absolutely going crazy. These guys, oh my God, I can't believe it. So it kind of ruined it for me. But other than that, that was all right. I mean, for a heavyweight fight, that was actually all right. Don't care who won. I mean, he definitely did win. Don't know why it was a split decision, because the only one that ever looked like they were going to lose that fight was Taffer. But I'll be fair fingers to him. He Taffered it out, because I thought he was quite Taffer.
All right, well, that's enough of playing on his name.
Oh, yes, like when Anik does it.
But he's a professional.
True.
Yeah, look, it was all right. I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10, that fight. I really just don't get the fun in that little session and a couple of other moments, moderately exciting. It was two guys that need to corner for a bit. Having a pretty boxing match.
I just think that for a heavyweight fight, it was pretty good. That don't mean it was good or amazing. It was just quite a good heavyweight fight, and heavyweight fights are crap. So I don't like having to agree on these scores, but I'm the same. It's the middle of the road. It's a 5. What can I do?
I'll tell you what doesn't annoy me. I don't want to get into it too deep, but heavyweight division, to me, look, it's there for whoever wants to fight at heavyweight. But as far as I'm concerned, it ain't there for blokes that are 5'11", but just basically in 8 stone round their belly.
Well,
it's not what. Well, yeah, I know that seems to be predominantly what it is, but to me, it's for people. I don't know, a Tyson Fury, who has had times where he's had about 8 stone around his belly, but a Tyson Fury, 6'7", an Anthony Joshua, built like some sort of statue, an Ngannou, an Alistair Overeem, horseman.
Don't have to be muscly like
who's
the other bloke? Fabricio Verdum. He's just big. He's
that's right. Yeah,
guy. He's just massive, right?
Yeah. Another one who they brought up, because obviously Taffa is, I think, is connected to him, is Mark Hunt, right?
That's right.
Now, the difference is when you look at Mark Hunt, he's like a little boulder. His legs probably make him a heavyweight alone, right? They're like tree nuts. And even if you look at his midriff, which he's carrying a lot of weight in, it's not wobbling about like a jelly on a plate. It's still solid.
Agreed.
He's just a solid lump, and that is his body.
Yeah, I think it's the density of him, the way he's structured. But he probably has heavy bones, real.
Yeah, he's just, like I say, he's built like a human boulder. And so that's fine. People come in all shapes and sizes, that's fine. But what annoys me is people who are just basically should be, sometimes when you see like photos and you'll go, I don't know, a picture of Tyron Woodley, let's just say next to that Carlos Felipe, and you're like, bloody hell, they look about the same size. And you're all confused. It's like, that's because they are the same size.
One's heavier.
It's just Felipe's just been eating 2 portions all through his life, whereas Woodley only ate 1. That's all it is. But they have their frame and their bodies. They are both, similar height, say 5'8", 5'9", 5'10", whatever. I don't know about those 2 guys. I'm just picking them at random. And so you look at me and you go, well, that's why one's at heavyweight and one's a welterweight. Felipe, to me, is not a heavyweight. He's just a fat guy fighting.
Out of order, that was too raw, too blunt.
What would you call him then?
He got in there. You said you have respect for that. He won the fight.
Yeah.
Why did he get tarred with that and Taffa get away with it?
Yeah, well, Taffa's the same.
Right.
Felipe is just was, by the way, I thought both these guys were good. I thought they're both decent. I thought they're both good for heavyweight. I liked them.
They are all right, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just saying, get on the treadmill, lose more weight. I know it's not that simple, right? But watch what you're eating a bit more. Get down to light heavyweight. Look at what what's his name's done. He's down at middleweight now, you know, and he's a
Oh yeah,
contender.
Stone bloke.
Jared Cannonier.
Yeah,
Look at what he's done.
I know. Yeah, it's true.
Sort it out. If sort it out, right, do what you want with your career. But you know, like I say, for me, heavyweight, I can't be bothered with guys who can't be bothered themselves. Yeah, that's all I've got to say about it.
This
And I
one
know
was
they can
okay.
be
You're
bothered.
just talking. Yeah, okay. This one is
I'm
actually
talking
all
about in
right.
general.
Yeah.
In general, I liked
Yeah.
both these guys. I think they're both decent. I'm just talking in general. I'm fed up of seeing heavyweights wobbling all over the cage. And it's just like, you're not a heavyweight fighter. You are just someone you've eaten up to the weight. Do you remember when McGregor ate up to 170 for the Diaz fight? It's like
Terrible.
these guys are eating up to 260.
I know.
Stop
There was
eating
that
up to
other bloke.
down to 205.
What's the
That's what
name
I'm
of the
saying.
other bloke who used to fight at like 185 and all that? And he's had a couple of recent fights and he's now heavyweight.
That's right. Yeah, he beat your mate. I can't remember his name as well. Volante. He beat Volante, didn't he? Last time out.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of the bloke. That's a real bad one because he used to be really good, and now the heavyweight version, he's crap. I don't get it. You got him?
He's Jake Collier.
That's the one. Yeah,
Yeah.
hang on, that's the one. I don't understand this. This was a good fighter, and he ain't good now.
No, because he's fight. It's like someone saying to me, "All right, Dave, you're going to go in there and have a spar, but before you go in there and spar, we're going to stick a backpack on your front with a couple of kilogram weight plates in it, and a backpack on your back with a couple of kilogram weights on it, and some sandbags on your legs." Well, you know how brilliant I look when I'm shadow boxing. I mean, I'm a master of my craft. But you stick those weights on me, it's going to affect my performance.
I think your shadow boxing is more the morass noise than the. It's more noise than anything.
I do make a lot of noise when I'm shadow boxing.
You sound like a bag of sand.
Dan Hardy said it on the broadcast, didn't he?
There's
a term for it.
Ki. Yeah.
So yeah, exhaling on impact, and I've always said that. So yeah, I do make a lot of morass noise, but yeah, that's where the similarities end.
That's what I think. I always look, think to myself when I hear you doing it. I mean, now I know what you're doing it, but before I'd turn around and go, who's shaking a bag of sand or something? What's happening here? But there you go. Or it sounds like the sea on the shore crashing against the rocks. Right, next fight then is, oh, Jesus, a good one. Wu Mulan Yanan versus Jocelyn La Pantera Edwards.
Well, yeah, it was. Well, I mean, I'll just say, I think I'll give it 1.5 out of 10.
Yeah, crap. Another crap one.
Look, I quite liked Wu's when her name was being announced. That she was kind of doing some little faces and some little movements, a little bit like some budget Shevchenko sort of dancing moves, and all that. I quite liked them. But
I'll have to rewatch that.
Yeah, not massively, but I think I don't know whether she was just a bit shy or what. But anyway, I liked that, but I didn't particularly like the fight, which is the important bit. So yeah, I'm not going to give it a great score. Is the truth. The first round, I just watched somebody trying to lock in an armbar for 4 minutes. I mean, that's
basically the whole round, whole thing.
Yeah,
which we've agreed on it. Women like armbars, so it's understandable. They love it.
Yeah, but it's just like either pull it off, go for it and pull it off, or get out of it. One or the other. But don't just sit there for 4 minutes. I know someone goes, there's lots of little things at play. Come on, man, 4 minutes, and she didn't even get it. And
crap, yeah, terrible.
The rest of the fight wasn't particularly entertaining either. Yeah, so not great. Not great. But,
I couldn't do a morass on this. I couldn't watch it. I had to fast forward. I couldn't handle it. Just imagine what it looked like. You don't have to imagine. When I was fast forwarding and it was stayed in that armbar the whole way through the fast forward, I was watching it going, well, look, what this is. This is
your recording pros. Yeah,
you deserve this. Look. So the whole fight weren't good. Didn't like it. Boring. Typical. No surprise, etc. But what we'll say is at the beginning, I wanted to ask you a question about it. And I don't know if you know anything about this, but Anik said on a broadcast that it was supposed to be Beche against Wu. I thought she retired.
I thought Betcha retired, but maybe I don't know. She didn't get many subscriptions on OnlyFans and thought I can make a buck another way.
You know she'd get loads on OnlyFans. You know it.
It probably would, yeah, yeah. 'Cause muscle. It's not really muscle business. It's
Not
just
really, yeah.
meaty. That's how I
Meaty,
describe
yeah.
it. But yeah,
I thought
it's
she'd retired. So that's a good little tidbit of news. Are we looking forward to a Becce comeback?
I'm always looking forward. I always look forward to a Betcha fight.
Me too.
Do you remember? I remember her saying that some guys or something messaged her asking her for a used pair of her training socks or something like that. It's some weird.
Socks.
Yeah, I think it was her socks. Might have even been her pants. But I mean, there's some weird people out there, aren't there?
Well,
What do you want anybody's socks? You know, fresh on their feet, off their feet, new out of the packet. Whatever.
can't have been socks. It must have been shorts.
I got a feeling it might have been socks now. And there are lots of guys.
Socks.
I think there's lots of guys out there into feet, and look. Here's the thing. This is what I don't understand about this. We're not here to talk about this. But what I don't understand about that, you know, so say for example, being into women's feet as an example, right? Okay. Women's feet are a bit different to men's feet, right? Ours are a bit bigger, hairier, bumpier, whatever you want to say, right? But essentially, they're the same thing, right? So why is that of any interest? It's just the
You
same.
could say the same about bumholes.
No, not really. I think they're different.
Poo comes out of both. Hairs around both.
Well, look, let's not go too deep into discussion, but they do definitely look a bit different. But you know,
But one's got a few more ears.
anyway, I don't understand what the fascination is with say feet. You got your own feet. I don't see why there's not a big enough difference for me to go. Yeah, but you know. So yeah, I don't understand that. You know, I understand why someone might go. I don't know. I think all of it's bizarre, but you know, whatever bra or knickers, it's a little bit different. But socks, those socks could have come off her boyfriend or off her dad. You know, if you get them through the post, you can kind of go, well, these socks could have come off anybody.
Oh yeah, they don't have to actually be her socks. Yeah, they could be just a pair of socks. It can't have been socks. No one wants socks.
I'm pretty sure it was socks.
Ridiculous. That's the prelims done.
Yep, that's the end of this. We finished on a high note talking about
bumholes. Yeah.
Yeah. So